And we are live! Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We have a great show for you today, as always. We are live every single day at noon Eastern. Now, if you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the shows on there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Folks, however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered multiple ways. So, today is a big old Thursday, so today we guess and react to the Week 17 lines, the final week of the regular season, folks. So, some of these lines could be big wonky because, players aren't, playing and, best teams are resting and, bad teams are not going to be playing so hard because they're bad anyway. So, we'll see if we can, nail down all these wild lines I'm predicting. And then I think that's really it for today. That's kind of the main topic today, guessing and reacting to Week 17. And then tomorrow on Friday, we, give you our official picks. And then we are also going to do our playoff machine for Week 17, the last time we can do it this year. So we'll also do that on Friday as well. Also, we have a little bit of a bonus. We got a bonus. I've been meaning to do this the entire week, and I kept forgetting to put it in the show, but Sean Peyton is a genius, folks. He's a genius. The man is playing 3D chess. The man is ready for the Super Bowl right now, and we've got the proof for it. So we're going to do a little bit of in-depth film analysis today, even though it's not Wednesday. We're doing it today, too. And we're going to be looking at Sean Peyton because it's brilliant, man. And I may be exposing him, and unfortunately, I am sorry in advance to Sean Peyton, but when we get there, we'll get there. But first, let's jump into our stories today. Here we go. Cleveland Browns. Oh no, more positive COVID test. 2 players tested positive for COVID in Cleveland today. One player positive today was from a player who has been in isolation but was in close contact to someone outside the building, if you can follow that. And then the 4 wide receivers last week, they are active, so they're all good. They cleared their protocol. Higgins, Landry, and I'm forgetting the other 2. But so now the Browns have all the wide receivers, but now they've got other positive COVID tests to deal with, and they're kind of in a must-win situation, winning in. So, we want to see this Cleveland team be 100% healthy. I don't want to see any team not be at 100% strength Week 17 when literally their playoff lives depend on it. So we're hoping, We're hoping that these aren't kind of major players for the Browns, and we hope that they can still play come this Sunday. Alrighty, and speaking of COVID, Falcons, they're working virtually because one member of the team tested positive for COVID-19. I don't think we know who this is yet. It still hasn't come out, but Falcons, they are also dealing with COVID. Luckily for the Falcons, they've got no chance of making the playoffs, so this isn't going to affect them too much in the grand scheme of things. Alrighty, and then the Chiefs, they're resting, baby. Patrick Mahomes is a no-go this week. Chad Henne will be quarterbacking for the Chiefs. Let's see if he can get it done. Let's see if the Chiefs can go 15-1, and if Chad Henne and these backups for the Chiefs can lead them there. Alrighty, the Panthers, they're not expecting Mike Davis to play Sunday, and they also ruled out Christian McCaffrey. So let's start it here with Christian McCaffrey. Well done to Matt Rule, not pushing him. He understands the Panthers have no chance at the playoffs. They gain nothing by playing Christian McCaffrey, even if he could go this week. So I love what Matt Rule's doing, building for next year. He already established the winning culture, knowing what it takes to win in the NFL. He's got some wins under his belt. Teddy Bridgewater's been looking good this season. The entire Carolina Panthers team has been absolutely fantastic this season for a new head coach, a new quarterback, and their best player not being available for the entire season, basically. So very, very well done by Matt Rule not starting Christian McCaffrey this week. And, now let's go to Mike Davis here. He's been a great backup, I think. He hasn't had a great season, but he's a backup to Christian McCaffrey. And he was averaging, I think, about 60 yards a game on the ground. He wasn't so good catching the ball out of the backfield, but he was still a nice power runner for this Panthers team. Unfortunately, he's not going to be going this week as well, so really not sure what the Panthers are going to be doing here. Whether they're going to really be trying to win, which probably they will, because I still think, Teddy Bridgewater is going to play and his 2 receivers are going to play as well. But no running help for the Panthers this week. Alrighty, and here we go. The Steelers, once again, they are resting as well, and I'm not a big fan of it. So here are the players that will be resting. Ben Roethlisberger, I think it's a little mistake. Now, you can look at it both ways. He's a veteran. He's, almost 40, if not 41. So, yes, I get the rest, but, that 4-game slide, that 4-game slid, I really wish the Steelers offense would really shore up before the playoffs. Now, they finally did it, in the last half of the last game, but is that enough? Is that, complete of what the offense does, or should we have one more week for them to get ready? So I don't really like Ben Roethlisberger being out, but he's going to be resting this week. Center Marquise Pouncey is going to be resting this week. TJ Watt is going to be resting this week, and Cam Hayward is going to be resting this week. So 2 big pieces on offense, the quarterback in the center, and then 2 big defensive presences. 2 defensive linemen that are fantastic, or I should say defensive ends, TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. So I'm not, I do like that the defense is resting a little bit because, they've been carrying the load all season, and they've been getting kind of injured late down the stretch. So yes, definitely get your defense shored up, but got to get this offense shored up too. Now, Mason Rudolph, hopefully all the wide receivers are still playing, and Mason Rudolph can deliver some good passes to keep them in rhythm because, the wide receivers are kind of another strike against this Steelers offense that really needs to keep the rhythm up because they played fantastic in the second half of that Colts game last week. But once again, you have to keep that momentum. Is one half going to kind of overcome the last 4 weeks? I'm not sure. So we'll see how it works. Mike Tomlin, once again, obviously knows better than I. He is the head coach, but we'll see how it plays out when the Steelers play week 1 in the playoffs for the wild card round. Alrighty, and then what do we got here? The last story kind of once again reaffirming us, validating us again. We've been calling DK Metcalf and Tyreek Hill the top 2 receivers all season. And then, probably 2 weeks ago after that Eagles game for the Cardinals, we started to put DeAndre Hopkins in that top 3 category because the man absolutely single-handedly destroyed the Eagles defense himself. And look what we see here. Most receptions of 30-plus yards in the league. Number 1 is DK Metcalf with 12, and number 2 is Tyreek Hill and DeAndre Hopkins with 11. So, once again, kind of validating us, what we've been saying all season. DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, 3 best wide receivers in the league. And now we have to start thinking about bringing in Devontae Adams because this man's been on a tear the last, 2-3 weeks. So I think we have our new top 4 wide receivers. Now, how we order them, it's a little tricky. I think DK Metcalf is slowly starting to fall from that number 1 spot, and DeAndre Hopkins falling from that probably number 3 spot a little bit, so maybe reorder it. Tyreek Hill 1, Devontae Adams 2, DK Metcalf 3, DeAndre Hopkins 4. It's real tough to order those, but those are the 4 top wide receivers, all in the top 5, I believe. So nice deep threat wide receivers, go up, high point the ball. All these receivers do it here, folks. Love to see it. Alrighty, now let's quickly cover the NBA. And folks, as I say, we are going to be switching over to mainly NBA at the end of really the NFL season. We're too invested in the NBA and the NFL season right now. It's the first couple games of the NBA season. Let's all relax and let's get, first, 10, 15 games under the NBA belt before we start talking seriously NBA. So we'll quickly go through this right here. Celtics beating the Grizzlies. Celtics advancing to 3-2 on the season. Really dominant win here. 19-point win. Very good. Jaylen Brown, 42 points. Holy cow. They really needed somebody to step up since they really lost Gordon Hayward in the offseason. He wasn't, anything special for the Celtics, but he was, a reliable, I would say about 12 to 17 points a game. And, he would always, score 20 as well in some instances too. So very solid point scorer. And we see Jaylen Brown just taking over and making up for that lost contribution of an offensive player. So Jaylen Brown, fantastic game, 42 points. Jason Tatum contributes 16. Daniel Tice, I'm not a big fan of him, but let's kind of keep track on him this season. 12 points, 5 rebounds in 19 minutes. All right, I'm not a big fan. Let's see his kind of backup, Robert Williams, 6 points in 10 rebounds in 22 minutes. All right, so we see the bench player having more minutes than the starter. I think that's right. I think I do like Robert Williams III a little bit better than Daniel Tice. And then Marcus Smart always being a big contribution here, 14 points, 4 of 9 from 3, kind of doing what he does. So this this Celtics team isn't as deep as they were in the bubble, but I mean, when you got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, that's a fantastic duo, and they are leading themselves to some good wins here early in the season. Alrighty, Nets and Hawks, and the Hawks get their first loss of the season, but they still put up 141 points. So I think this Hawks team is legit. As I said, that's kind of take these first 10 games with a grain of salt. But what we're seeing here with Atlanta is absolutely fantastic. Trae Young, his third year, I believe, in the league, and he's making a huge impact, and they're getting wins. So I love what this Atlanta team is doing, and watch out for them come later in the season when it comes time to make that playoff push, if they're not already in the playoff hunt already. And then we got the Nets. They ended up beating the Hawks here, and they put up 145 points, and Kevin Durant and Kyrie clutch as they come. Kevin Durant hitting some big threes in the fourth quarter, and Kyrie Irving hitting some nice clutch mid-range jumpers that really iced the game. So very well done. We all know these talents of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We know they're probably going to be the best duo in the East, and they're here doing it early. And look at this, Joe Harris putting up 23 points as well. Definitely another shooter for these, two great shooters already of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We see Kyrie Irving putting up 25 points. Now let's see how DeAndre Jordan is doing. He's kind of the third, I guess, in this big three of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. 5 points and only 1 rebound. He played 15 minutes. Ooh, Jared Allen coming in off the bench, and he's putting up 15 points and 13 rebounds. So we see Jared Allen having a little bit more success, the backup center, if you will. And, DeAndre Jordan playing with the starters, doesn't really need to score a lot because he's got, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Just needs to have the rebounds, but once again, he's not going to have too many, offensive rebounds because it's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They're not missing. But yeah, those defensive rebounds definitely need to get up one rebound, DeAndre Jordan, in 15 minutes. Let's start working on that a little bit. Alrighty, and then the Heat, oh my goodness, they get revenge for their big old blowout by the Bucks. What was it, 2 days ago? They played back-to-back, and the Heat get the win here, 119-108. No big threes for the Bucks here, no record-setting 3 pace, no 50-point lead at halftime, and the Heat still didn't have Jimmy Butler, so well done to them. They still got big scores out here, and this is, this is kind of a big important point for the Bucks here. It was one big game that they had. They're not consistently that good at three-point shooting, because I really thought, oh my goodness, that's really all the Bucks need, a three-point shooter. They got Giannis down low, they got the size down low, they got Chris Middleton, but they need somebody to be reliable scoring the ball from 3, and we didn't get it this game, the second game against the Heat, so definitely we have to keep that in mind with the Bucks. Let's once again keep eyes on Giannis's free throws. He's been awful this season so far through his first 4 games. And once again, he's shooting. Oh, no, that's threes. Okay, finally, 4-4 from the free throw line. Okay, that we can definitely deal with that 100%. That's what we want to see, Giannis. But who wasn't hitting threes? I mean, they still took a lot of them. What do we got here? Drew Holiday shot 3 of 7. Dante DiVincenzo shot 3 of 7. Giannis shot 2 of 6. Chris Middleton, though, 0 of 4. Not the best, not the most kind of reliable, not the most consistent Chris Middleton. All right, now let's look at the Heat real quick. With their, barrage of three-point shooters that can really hit. Duncan Robinson, 9 points. Didn't really do too much this game and still won it. Andre Iguodala, no points. All right, Andre shooting 3 times, not hitting anything. Bam Adebayo stepping up big, 22 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. Great stat line there. Tyler Hero, 21 points, 15 rebounds. Whew, nice. Great stat line there. He did only shoot 2 of 6 from 3, so not the greatest, but still getting there. Goran Dragic, 26 points. He shot 4 of 7 from 3. Very well done. Kelly Olynyk, 15 points, and he shot 3 of 7 from 3 as well. So they've got some shooters here, and this Heat team is still deep, folks. I mean, look at this bench, even without Jimmy Butler. So a bench player had to go in to substitute for Jimmy Butler, and they're still deep on their bench. Goran Dragic coming off the bench. Kelly Olynyk coming off the bench. Kendrick Nunn only played 9 minutes. He can still ball, and they still got Udonis Haslem and Myers Leonard, who have not played and don't play because, they're that deep that they got some reserves and some, older players acting like coaches and being true veterans and teaching this kind of young team of the Heat. So still watch out for this Heat. They got 3 wins now? They're 3-2? No, 2-2. So still at 500, looking good, carrying over from last season, still like the Heat. Alrighty, Mavericks, what is going on with them? They were great in the bubble, not really translating well this season. Is Luka getting figured out a little bit? Because now they're 1-3. Losing to the Hornets is never a good sign. especially without John Morant, right? He's on the Hornets? Am I bugging? No, he's on the Grizzlies. Yeah, so I'm bugging. Here we go. Let's look at what did Luka Doncic do. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and he played 24 minutes. He shot 40%, 0 of 5 from 3, nothing great there. So Luka, a little bit of a down game, and they lose. Is that a coincidence? I think that's correlation, folks. They definitely need Luka. He's their number one. Probably you put Tim Hardaway Jr. and maybe Dorian Finney-Smith as the number 2, 3. But Luka's got to step it up a little bit more here. They also don't have that great of a bench. No really big names here. What do we got? Jalen Brunson. He had some solid contributions, 16 points in 20 minutes. I'll give him that. And then Maxi Kleber, 12 points and 6 rebounds. So some decent help off the bench. Not as deep as I would say the Heat or some other of these teams. But still, Mavericks got to get it figured out here. All right, Lakers beating the Spurs 121-107. What did LeBron and AD do? Did AD play this game? Let's take a look. Anthony Davis did play 20 points. LeBron James, 26 points. Classic. Dennis Schroeder, 21 point stats. What I love to see, this man being kind of consistent and stepping up. He's kind of their number one shooter now since they picked him up during the offseason. So 3 of 5 from 3. Absolutely fantastic. 21 points. And basically, if you're having LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Dennis Schroeder scoring all 20-plus points, they're going to win every single game that happens in. And there is there is kind of correlation here that they all did that, 20-plus points, and they win the game. All right, let's see Kyle Kuzma coming off the bench. 6 points, 1 of 4 from 3. So he still needs to step it up a little bit more. And Montrezl Harrell hasn't been playing the best here. 10 points. He did have 9 rebounds, so we'll give him that. 3 offensive. That's pretty good as well. So a decent game for Montrezl Harrell off the bench, we should say. All right. Let's move on. And then our last game, Clippers-Blazers. This was the game in our moneymaker. We only had a one-team moneymaker going last night, and it was Clippers minus 4.5, I believe it was. And they cover outright. They win by what? What is this? 23 points? Holy cow. Big old blowout for them. 4-1. I think they're leading the West. I think they're the only 4-1 team. They're the only one-loss team besides the Hawks, but they only got 3 wins. So very good job here for the start for the Clippers. Let's quickly go over this. What is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard doing? Kawhi Leonard, 28 points, classic Kawhi Leonard. And Paul George, classic Paul George here, 23 points. When Kawhi Leonard is playing, he's kind of on as well. So everything's going good here. Good contribution from Serge Ibaka. I love that this man's having success. Look at this man, 3 of 5 from 3. We saw him in Toronto for the bubble last season, and he was really the best piece on that Raptors team, the most consistent piece, because Siakam wasn't doing anything. Who else do they got? Really, Siakam and Fred VanVleet, he wasn't as consistent. But Serge Ibaka coming off the bench in Toronto, huge. 3-pointers whenever he came up on the court, and he's still translating it over here for the Clippers. So I love that Serge Ibaka is having some nice success here. Starting, 11 points, 3 of 5 from 3, 8 rebounds to go along with that. Or no, 3. No, yeah, I was right. Yeah, 8 rebounds. I'm reading the right stat line. So great job by him. Love it. Alrighty, so that's all kind of the stories in basketball today. So now let's get into our main topics, which is our guessing and reacting to the lines. But quickly, I do want to do this kind of Sean Peyton. Sean Peyton is a genius, folks, and I'm telling you why. Remember, this is when it all came about and everything started to add up for me. So let's take us back to last week when the Saints played on a Friday, Christmas Day, against the Vikings, and Alvin Kamara was running wild on everybody. And then came the fourth quarter when Alvin Kamara had the chance to tie history at 6 touchdowns, and they put Taysom Hill in. And everybody freaked out, and Twitter exploded, and everybody's like, how could you do that to Alvin Kamara? How could you, not let him get the record, and blah, 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 blah. But Sean Payton's not thinking about a meaningless game that they already wrapped up against the Vikings on Christmas Day. This man's thinking about the playoffs in the Super Bowl. So let's take us back to this infamous play, should we call it. We'll tell you about it right here. This is where it came. They were already up 45-33 at this point. Alvin Kamara was running wild in hang on. This is it. Nope. hang on. Let me back it up a little bit. All right, they were already up 38-27, and Alvin Kamara was running wild at this point, and then they got down to the 1-yard line, and they sub Alvin Kamara out, and they put Taysom Hill in with 4:03, and that's when everybody lost their mind. So we got the play queued up here. Let's watch the formation, and let's see what happens on this play. Why is Sean Peyton putting Taysom Hill out there and putting stuff on tape when they've already got the game wrapped up? And why isn't Alvin Kamara in the game right now, right? That's basically the big questions, and we've got the answer. So here we go. This is the play that ruined Alvin Kamara's, career-setting day. Here it is. Let me slow down a little bit. Let me pause it. Okay, so here it is. Look at the formation. No wide receivers, bunch formation, single backfield to the right of Taysom Hill. And now what do? They run it. They run the ball in with Taysom Hill. Nobody's running routes. It's not a read option. It's not even a pass fake. There's no chance that Taysom Hill throws this pass. It's Taysom Hill running on the 1-yard line. Alrighty, so now this has happened before. Taysom Hill's been on the 1-yard line before, correct? Well, yes, that is correct now that you bring it up. So let's go back. I believe this is week 11 against the Falcons. Once again, Taysom Hill on the 2-yard line. 4th and goal. Pay attention to the formation and the routes ran, or the routes not ran. Once again, he goes into motion. Now this is a kind of bunch set with 2 tight ends on each side. Once again, single backfield with running back to the right of Taysom Hill. Now let's watch the play here. Once again, direct snap to Taysom Hill. He runs it to the right side. No tight ends going out on routes. No play action. No fake handoff. No fake pass. It's just Taysom Hill, direct snap, finding, looking to the right, and going in for the touchdown. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, they didn't run this play 3 times, did they? Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because let's go to the following week. This is week 11, I believe. And then in week 12 against the Broncos, we've got the same situation here, folks. Here we go. So let's break this down. Once again, Taysom Hill on the 2-yard line. 4 tight ends, 2 on each side. Single back to the right of Taysom Hill. Now can you take a guess on what play they run here? Well, let's find out. Here it is. Taysom Hill running to the right. Touchdown. Now, once again, no tight ends going out for routes. No play action. No fake pass. No fake handoff to the running back. Direct snap. Taysom Hill running off the right side for the touchdown. Now, and so let's, go back to this one against the Vikings here. This is why they ran the play, because Sean Peyton knows that in the playoffs, or when they get in the Super Bowl, when they're going to have this formation out, the defensive coordinator on the other team facing this formation right now is going to know Taysom Hill run, Taysom Hill run. That's all the tape. Every single time Taysom Hill is ran to the right, so the defense is now going to sell out for a Taysom Hill run to the right, correct? So what do you think Sean Payton's setting this play up for? He's waiting to pull out that trick play in the playoffs when they need it. He would like to hold it for the Super Bowl, but if they get there, but if they get in a dire situation in the playoffs, they'll run a formation. They'll come out, run this exact formation. It will look just like this, but some of these tight ends will be going out for routes. So this tight end could do just a little shallow running on the goal line. This tight end goes deep, maybe 5 yards in the end zone, then breaks out to the corner. And you got kind of the same on this right side as well. A tight end kind of goes 5 yards in and cuts out, and another tight end goes right down the sideline, and then Taysom Hill passes it because the defense is selling out for the run, folks. I can guarantee this is what Sean Payton's doing. There's literally nothing. And you know why we know this? It's because Sean Payton ran this play on a prime time, only game that was on all day game that he knows that everybody's watching. Do you think that every coach in the NFL was watching this game? Because I guarantee you they were, because they know the Saints are going to be in the playoffs and they know that they're going to have to face them. So what better time to sit back, relax, do a little couch coaching? I can guarantee you all the coaches were watching and making note of this play. There's no reason to send Taysom Hill out here when they already put up 38 points and there's 4 minutes left in the game. The game was over at this point. Put Alvin Kamara, let him go, run it in. But Sean Payton's got some big brain IQ, playing that 6D chess, and he knows he had to get this on tape on primetime television of Taysom Hill, bunch formation, single running back to the right, going to the right off tackle. Folks, watch out for the playoffs. I can guarantee you we will see a play that is in this exact formation with all 4 tight ends doing different routes on the different side, and then Taysom Hill's an easy, wide open pass because everybody's selling out run, folks. There it is. Sean Peyton, best coach in the league. I'm sorry I had to expose you, Sean Peyton, but we have to call it when we see it, and we're seeing it and we're calling it, and when it happens, folks, we'll be here to tell y'all we were right. All right, so that's just the one film that we needed to see on Sean Payton, because this is definitely what's happening, folks. I can guarantee it. Trick plays work in the playoffs in the Super Bowl all the time. We saw Josh Allen, his first playoff last year against the Texans. It was trick play after trick play after trick play on that first drive. That's why they scored a touchdown. And then in the Super Bowl, the Philly special, that's a trick play. Watch out for this as well. This is going to be the new Philly special here. Alrighty, so now let's go into our main topic today, which is guessing and reacting to the Week 17 lines. We'll try to go through these a little bit quickly because we know some games are meaningless and some lines are going to be just ridiculous because, backups are playing backups. So, alright, with all that being said, let's count it. Let's talk about these games. Let's see what the spread's going to be, and then, we'll react to what the actual lines are. But first, let's go through and guess and start talking about some of these games. So, the first game up is Dolphins-Bills, folks, and Dolphins winning in. Bills trying to secure that number 2 seed. It would be perfect for them. They would have home field until, they got to the Chiefs, if the Chiefs are still there, and then they have to go on the road for the AFC Championship game. But, you want as many home games as possible, and the Bills are looking for that. Once again, Bills are home. Bills have a fantastic offense. They're literally picking apart every single defense, and these are no scrub defenses. We're talking about Seattle's defense. We're talking about a Bill Belichick coach defense. Those are some good defenses. Now, the Dolphins' best defense in the league, must-win game for them. Bills, not a must-win game, but a division opponent. They can keep the Dolphins out. They're definitely going to be trying to win this game. So, should be a good one. Dolphins offense, I don't know, man. This Bills defense is very good as well, and I'm really not sure. I think it's still up in the air whether Devontae Parker's playing or not, and that's going to be huge. I think Jakeem Grant is kind of out already, which is not good. I'm not 100% sure he's playing, so once again, the Dolphins' weapons are not there, and Tua is once again going to struggle if our running game isn't going to get taken off right from the rip and starting to get going right from quarter one. So, the Dolphins' offense is still the big question mark here. Is Tua going to play the entire game, or are they going to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick at some point? So this was going to be close, but the Dolphins, this is a must-win game for them if they want to control their own destiny in the playoffs. Brian Flores has a great run organization here, and I think these are two very, very pretty much even teams. Great offense by the Bills, but great defense by the Dolphins. Something's got to give here. So we're going to call this one Bills minus 3.5. I think these teams are very, very close and similar on what they can do. I do think the Bills have the better offense, but, in totality, this Dolphins defense it's something next level, folks. So we'll call it Bills minus 3.5. Bills minus 3 because they're at home, and then maybe about half a point because the Bills' talent, the roster, everything about them is probably a point or half a point better than the Dolphins here. So we'll call this one Bills minus 3.5. Alrighty, Saints and Panthers, and kind of what we said at the top of the show, Panthers not having Mike Davis, that's definitely going to hurt them in the long run, but this Panthers offense is still good with Teddy Bridgewater and the receivers. I believe Saints are still playing for playoff positioning. We'll talk about more of that on tomorrow's show when we do kind of our playoff predictor. But I believe Drew Brees is probably going to be playing, or Taysom Hill probably plays this week. I think it's better if Taysom Hill plays this week. Give Drew Brees another week of rest because he wasn't looking that great last week. Some arid passes. He threw 2 interceptions, no touchdowns because Alvin Kamara was going wild. So get Drew Brees fully healthy. This isn't a must-win game for the Saints. They've already, they're going to be in the playoffs. So I would kind of like to see Taysom Hill start quarterback for this week for the Saints. we'll know more about the line of what Vegas is going to predict. Like, if this is Saints minus 10, you probably know Drew Brees is playing. If this is Saints, minus 20, once again, you probably know Drew Brees is playing. But if this is like Panthers minus 4, then you probably know that the Saints are going to be resting everybody. So we'll know more about this game when we look at the line. But we're going to call this one Saints minus... Saints, I was going to say it, and I was like, that may be a little high. But let's just count this one Saints minus 4. I'm assuming everybody's playing. I don't think I've heard any information on whether the Saints are resting anybody. I don't think they are. Quickly go through my timeline real quick. Anything that I'm seeing, I haven't seen anything since before we went live. And and they can still earn a first round bye. Look at this scenario. New Orleans Saints playoff picture. They can clinch a first round bye if the Saints win and the Packers lose and the Seahawks win. I mean, so they're still fighting for that first round bye. So yeah, Saints minus 4. Absolutely love it. You better believe that they're going to be gunning all day for this win here. If they can still get that first round bye, that would help Drew Brees tremendously. So yeah, we'll call this one. Probably you can go even higher, but we'll keep this one at Saints minus 4 for now. Alrighty, Packers and Bears. Big game for the Bears. Once again, kind of what we mentioned, big game for the Packers too. They don't have that number 1 seed wrapped up with the bow, so Packers are going to be going for it. Bears, they need to win. Win and in for them. Simple as that. Mitch Trubisky, how is he going to fare? Is he going to flounder in the biggest game of his career? I know that he got to the playoffs, but that was before, the Bears were looking to move off of him. It was kind of a known story that Mitch Trubisky is pretty much not going to be here anymore. So a huge game for Mitch Trubisky. He needs to win this game. He needs to play a flawless game for us to even have a chance, for even me to have a chance to even think that the Bears would even keep him for next season. So he needs to be perfect. He's at home, which is already great there. Got to be at home for this game. He's got to play great. But what did we just see last week against a Jaguars defense that was tanking? In the first half, it was 10-10. So Packers are going to be going for it. Bears are going to be going for it. And we're going to call this one Packers minus 5, man. This Bears team is not good, man. Mitch Trubisky is not good. I don't care what anybody says. I'm looking at the stats. I'm looking at the tape. I'm comparing everything. And the man is turning it over in the red zone. That's grade 1 cardinal sin. Don't turn the ball over, and especially don't do it in the red zone. And Mitch Trubisky is doing that in the biggest cardinal sin of all. Do not turn the ball over in the red zone on a first down play. Live for another down, and Mitch Trubisky does that better than anybody, folks. Throwing red zone interceptions on first down when you still have 2 other plays, potentially 3, and you're guaranteed at least 3 points, most likely, for a chip shot field goal. So we're going to call this one Packers minus 5. They're still going for it. They want to wrap up the number 1 seed. They would love to kick their division opponent, Bears, right out of the playoffs. I mean, that's huge, folks. If you don't think that, division opponents are going to play each other even harder than they already do in the regular, first 16 weeks, then you're sadly mistaken here. So Packers are going to be looking to embarrass the Bears, send Mitch Trubisky into an early retirement, because if the Packers absolutely blow out the Bears, they know that Mitch Trubisky will not be there next season. So that would be perfect for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is like, y'all worried about me? Y'all worried about me performing well? Well, why don't y'all worry about your own quarterbacks? Because I just kicked one out of the league in Mitch Trubisky. So we're going to call this one Packers minus 5. Alrighty, Ravens and Bengals, and ooh boy, we could get some tremendous value here with the Bengals. I'm loving this Bengals team, folks. I'm loving this Bengals team. They won last week outright. We took them plus 7.5. Bingo, bango. Didn't even have to sweat in that game. They're not going to be starting any of their starters, or not really any of the starters, but they're going to be playing the same offense that they did last week. I mean, Brandon Allen playing absolutely fantastic. We watched some film on him yesterday, and he impressed me a lot. I think this man could be a starter. This man could start for the Jags, definitely. So, Joe Burrow is going to be starting for the Bengals, so definitely unfortunate for Brandon Allen. But I saw some good talent there. They won the game. Now, the Ravens are fighting for a playoff spot. These are division rivals here. So Bengals at home as well. This Bengals defense really stepping up a little bit. Now I know this Ravens offense is just something so special, folks. You can't stop it because the running game is just too good. They're versatile. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. We'll see if Mark Ingram's going to be good to go for this game. We know we missed, I think, at least a couple of the last 3 weeks. We know he definitely didn't play last week, but I think he's been out for a couple weeks since then as well. So we'll see if he is good to go. Bengals, let's see what we call this game. Probably, I think this is going to be like Bengals minus 10. And I still think, I mean, if we get Bengals minus 10, folks, I think we take that. I think this is going to be a close game. I do think the Ravens are the better team, clearly. I don't think anybody's really doubting that. But the way that this Bengals team has been playing, I've stressed, that building that winning culture. And the head coach for the Bengals is definitely doing that. They've won, their past 2 games? If they could win out, their last 3 or 4 games, that would be truly fantastic. Building that winning culture without your quarterback, that's exactly what you want, folks. So I think the Bengals, we could get some great value here with the Bengals plus some points. I think the Ravens win, and I know they're trying to win. They're not even in the playoffs. Or no, they are. So winning in for them. I definitely think they win, but I think the Bengals cover. Division game, close game. Once again, kind of the Bengals have this opportunity to kind of knock the Ravens out, a division rival, out of the playoffs. I'll take the points there, I think. So, Ravens minus 10. That's what our official guess is going to be. Alrighty, let's keep going here. Steelers and Browns, and as kind of as we said at the top of the show, no Big Ben, no TJ Watt, no Cam Hayward. Who was the other one I'm blanking on? Should we go back, or should we just try to memorize it? Well, let's try to find it. Where's the story? Here it is. Marquise Pouncey. So the offensive line's going to get a little bit worse, and we know this Browns defensive line, Myles Garrett, with no center. So a little bit of a shakeup on the Steelers' offensive line. So look for the Browns. Once again, kind of a must-win game for the Browns. The Steelers, this is kind of a must-win game for that number 2 seed because they can still get the number 2 seed. But it doesn't seem like Mike Tomlin's really fighting too much. They're going to get a first-round playoff home game anyway, so he's probably just kind of feeding off of that. But doesn't look like the Browns are going to go for the number 2 seed as much as maybe Buffalo is going to. But now the Browns, kind of a winning scenario for them as well. We're kind of keeping track of this COVID outbreak that's going on in Cleveland for the Browns, not looking the best. So a lot of up in the air at the moment. But we know Baker Mayfield, he hasn't really been reliable these last couple weeks. Last week fumbling 3 times. Kevin Stefanski throwing the ball 53 times when they have no wide receivers. A little wonky there. But the Browns are at home. Once again, kind of a division game against the Steelers. These two teams have history. Remember the last time Mason Rudolph played against Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett came over the top and just slammed Mason Rudolph with his helmet. So we're going to have that narrative playing out this entire game. This is going to be a close, physical battle. I would expect some ejections in this game. It's going to be real wild. This is going to be fun to watch. 2 teams going at it that both really kind of need a win here. Steelers need to even look good because they haven't looked good for, the last 4 weeks. So this one's going to be a little tough to call. We're going to call this one right now, maybe Browns minus 2.5 because of kind of their COVID watch situation. The Steelers not playing full strength. Baker Mayfield's not playing the greatest. So we'll call this one Browns minus 2.5. It'll probably be a little higher than that, probably around Browns minus 4. But for right now, what we're seeing, the COVID's still an issue. I get that the Browns have all the receivers back, but the Steelers defense is still, it's not going to be 100% on the front line, but the backs are still going to be there waiting for Baker Mayfield to make the mistake. So we're going to call this one Browns minus 2.5. Is that kind of crazy? Because that's basically what we're saying is still the Steelers on a neutral field are half a point better than the Browns. Should we bump this up a little bit? Should we go minus 3.5? No Big Ben, but Mason Rudolph. Big Ben, he hasn't been looking great, and I think definitely Mason Rudolph, kind of a younger, fresh set of legs, can still get it done. And as we saw that these receivers are still going to be playing, we just kind of named the 4 players that won't be playing for the Steelers here. Yeah, we're going to keep this one. We're going to keep this one at Browns minus 2.5. I think Mason Rudolph is definitely going to be, a very solid backup quarterback here. Alrighty, let's move on to Vikings and Lions. This one's going to be a crapshoot, folks. No Dalvin Cook for the Vikings, so Kirk Cousins is going to struggle mightily. We know he struggles when the run game is not doing anything. And for the Lions, Matt Stafford's he's about 50-50 right now, and I would assume he's not going to play because this is a meaningless game, and I still think he wants to play next season, and his time with the Lions is probably coming to an end as he goes somewhere else. He needs to be 100% healthy, because if he's not healthy, if he gets, God forbid, injured beyond repair in this game, he's not going to be able to sign with another team next season, because nobody's going to take the risk on an aging quarterback that hasn't really done anything in his career. He's gotten to the playoffs a couple of times, but, always flounders, so Matt Stafford, if he wants to play next season, he cannot get injured this game. He's already a little banged up, so I don't really think he plays. The Lions just got absolutely destroyed last week against the Bucs. We know the coach situation, so we're going to highly, highly recommend staying away from this game. Whatever the line is, I don't care. It's just not going to be worth it. But we're going to call this one Vikings -3 because they still overall have the better weapons. And the Lions, they don't play a full game. They're usually good in the first half, the first two possessions, and then they really fizzle out for the rest of the game. I mean, the Vikings do that too. They really turn the ball over a ton in the second half. But, real bizarre game. It's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of people out for this come Sunday. I'm sure more will come out of who's not playing for the Vikings and Lions. So, and then the Vikings defense just got called out by their head coach, Mike Zimmer, saying that's the worst defense he's ever seen. So, are you going to be playing for your head coach like that? Because he may not even be here next year for the Vikings. So a lot up in the air in these two teams. Stay away from it. Like I said, I don't care if the Lions are getting 20. I don't care if they're getting 50. I stay away heavy from this game. We'll call it Vikings -3 though. Alrighty, Chargers Chiefs. As we just said at the top of the show, no Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. Chargers still trying to win this, still trying to build this winning culture. And where they rallied off 3 straight games, now they've come down to the wire in all these games, and they still kind of could have, flip of a coin, they could have lost all those games. So the Chargers are still doing what the Chargers do, which is not blowing out any team, keeping it close, and still not scoring really any points in the fourth quarter. So those are still all the mistakes the Chargers are making. Now, this Chiefs team, they're still going to have some of their starters play. I would assume Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still going to play because he's a rookie. He still needs the reps. As we said, Chad Henne is going to be playing for the Chiefs. I still think he can have good control of that offense. We'll see what's going to happen on the defensive end of the ball for the Chiefs. We'll still kind of see, how many Chiefs starters are not playing this week. So this one's going to be tough. I still don't think I trust the Chargers in this situation, even against the Chiefs backup. So, this one's going to be tough to call. We're going to call this one Chiefs -1. Even with all their kind of players out, even though it hasn't really been solidified of all these Chiefs players being out, I think we just said Patrick Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that's not a stat, or that's just a stat, that's not a story about him not playing. Let's see if we get anything here with the Chiefs real quickly as we scroll through our Twitter feed, anything popping up. What's this? Patrick Mahomes not playing, little story there. And yeah, so we really don't have too much information on this Chiefs team, whether they're playing or not. We just know Chad Henne's playing. That's really it. So we'll still call this one Chiefs -1. We'll know more about the line at the spread. If it's like Chiefs, plus like 4, then you probably know a lot of Chiefs players are not playing. So we'll call that one Chiefs -1. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Jets, Patriots. Something's got to give here. Jets have won their last 2 games. Now, is Adam Gase a good head coach? No. Yeah, 2 wins. Well, let's not get carried away. Patriots, we just saw Bill Belichick in this office on, prime time against the Bills at home. They could do nothing. The offense is still trash. I think Stidham is playing this week instead of Cam Newton. I don't know if that's been official yet. I know Bill Belichick is like, yeah, I guess Cam Newton's going to be playing. That's kind of what he said on, Tuesday. Was that a Sunday night game? Monday night? Anyway, Bill Belichick kind of said it early in the week, right after that loss against Buffalo, that maybe Cam Newton plays. I don't really know. So really not sure who's going to be quarterbacking here. Jets, are they going to be trying to win? Are they going to be trying to lock up that number 2 seed? Going to be real bizarre. Does Bill Belichick want to win this game? How much are the players going to be playing? I don't really know, but these are 2 not good teams. So once again, we highly advise staying away from this game. We'll call this one probably a pick 'em. pick 'em? I mean, is any are the Jets are the Patriots even better than this Jets team? I think the Jets offense is better than the Patriots offense. Now, the Jets defense, I don't think is that good, and the Patriots defense, they're not that good either, but they still got Bill Belichick, so we have to, give that man a little bit of respect a little bit. So, we'll say it's a pick 'em. I don't think you get really any value picking either of these teams. I stay away from it. Alrighty, Cowboys and Giants, and both of these teams can still make the playoffs, folks. It's kind of bizarre, but here we are, Week 17. Cowboys on the road. Their offense finally got going. It only took Mike McCarthy 17 weeks to finally have this offense going, and it finally took Ezekiel Elliott 17 weeks to finally step up into that kind of number one role, over 100 yards rushing. I think he had 2 touchdowns. Don't quote me on that, but I do think it was kind of up there. So, finally, everything got back on track for the Cowboys. This Giants defense has been pretty solid all season, but Daniel Jones has not looked very good these last 2 weeks because he's a little hobbled around, and who would have thought, Daniel Jones' running game is a huge factor of his game and just being kind of mobile in the pocket. So he's really struggling a little bit here these last 2 weeks. They've still been in close games, even against the Ravens. That Giants defense really kind of held the Ravens decently. What did the Ravens put up? 26 points? I think they were held under 30. Let me try and see this real quick. As we're right here, did Ezekiel Elliott have 2 touchdowns? He had no rushing and no receiving, so I just made that up. He had no touchdowns, but he still had 100 yards rushing, so that's still a huge factor for him. Where's the Seahawks game? Or who are we talking about? The Giants. Here it is. They held the Ravens to 27 points at home. That's pretty good, folks. This Giants defense has been holding these kind of big teams to not a lot of points, and we can definitely get behind that. Now, the Giants are at home this week against the Cowboys. Another plus for the Giants. In this Cowboys offense, how much do we trust it? How much do we trust Andy Dalton in high-pressure situations? We've seen him with the Bengals for 10-plus seasons. Were we ever afraid of Andy Dalton week 17 come week 17? I wasn't. I was never worried that Andy Dalton would beat my team come week 17. So, Cowboys on the road. How is Mike McCarthy going to handle the situation? We know it's really been rocky here his first year. So I think this is going to be a lot close. I'm rooting for the Giants here. I'm rooting for Washington to get in, and if Washington can't do it against the Eagles, then I'm rooting for the Giants. I really don't want to see the Cowboys in here in the playoffs. So we're going to call this one. This is tough. Just because Daniel Jones hasn't looked 100% yet these last 2 weeks. Ooh, that's the big hang up here, because I think the Giants defense is going to hold the Cowboys offense decently, but we still need some points coming from the Giants offense. So we're going to call this one Giants minus 1.5 because they're at home. So you give the home team -3, and then we're going to take a couple of points away from the Giants because we think the Cowboys offense is a little bit better right now at this moment than the Giants offense. So we'll call this one Giants minus 1.5. Alrighty, now Washington and Eagles. This is the night game, the only 8 o'clock game there is come Sunday, and they're trying to build up the drama, folks. All the drama is surrounding the NFC East, so the Cowboys and Giants will play at 1 o'clock. The winner will still have the chance to make the playoffs, and then they'll be all watching that 8 o'clock game, rooting for Washington to lose. So here we go, Washington and the Eagles. Eagles defense really let me down last week, folks. We liked the Eagles last week over the Cowboys, and the Cowboys absolutely shredded them. We had Andy Dalton for throwing 300 yards. We had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper both catching for 100 yards, or Michael Gallup catching for 100 yards, over 100 yards. So that offense for the Cowboys, it really kind of struck. And the Eagles defense really let me down. Now, Jalen Hurts. Do I like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback? Yes. Is he ready to start winning games right now at this moment? Yeah, he can kind of keep you competitive, but he's still making some bad mistakes, taking the safety in the first quarter and then not scoring any points in the fourth quarter. That happened against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, and now it happened against the Cowboys. So Jalen Hurts not scoring in the fourth quarter is huge, folks. That's really huge. So he's not being a consistent quarterback quarter 1 through quarter 4. So that's something that we have to kind of keep track of. And then that Eagles offense got out to a hot start against the Cowboys and then fizzled out for the rest of the game. I mean, they scored 14 points in the first 2 possessions. What did they end at? They ended at 17. So they scored 3 points in the second quarter, and then no points for the rest of the game. So that's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on. And this Washington defense is the best defense in the NFC East. This is a top 5 defense. We said the Eagles defense was top 5 going in last week, but then we finally took them out because of what they just did last week. We can't have that in the top 5. But this Washington defense is clearly top 5. You can probably say top 4, maybe top 3 if you want to push your luck, and I may agree. But Washington's defense is great. Tim Heineke was playing great last week. No more Dwayne Haskins. We'll see probably Alex Smith play quarterback for Washington, which I think is probably a mistake. I really liked what I saw from Tim Heineke last week. And Chase Young loved Tim Heineke, so that's great as well. If your defensive captain is hyping up your quarterback, come on, folks. Absolutely. There's so much team camaraderie going on in Washington's locker room. Ron Rivera knows it's a win-and-in situation, and I can guarantee you Ron Rivera in his wildest dreams did not think that this is where he would be come Week 17. He's in the NFC East number 1 position, and he controls his own destiny for the playoffs. So I love Washington here. I still like Jalen Hurts. Don't get me wrong. I still think he's a good quarterback, but, we have to see him next season. He needs to get a little bit better. He needs, a full kind of off season to work with his weapons. He's a rookie, folks. So he's a rookie who started late in the season, later than Tua did. So can't buy this Eagles offense right now. Can't buy the Eagles defense right now, but I can buy this Washington defense, and that's what I absolutely love. So we're going to call this one Washington -3. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Falcons and Bucks. We saw, we read the story kind of, I think, on a Monday or Tuesday. Bruce Arians said, hey, we're playing like this week matters. Like, this is kind of a win-and-in scenario for us. We're going to take this week as seriously as we taken the other 16 weeks. So the Bucks are going to be going full throttle. The Falcons, we'll kind of see, is Julio Jones going to play? Is he going to risk another injury or tweaking the hamstring again? There's some rumors circulating that he may not be in Atlanta next year, so is he going to put himself out on the line when he may have to be looking for a new team? We saw the Falcons play the Chiefs very close last week, and then Younghoe Koo misses the chip shot field goal to tie it up. I think that really just drained the entire Falcons offense, defense, the entire team. They're like, we would have been competitive in Week 17, but do you just saw what we just did? We just played our hearts out. We just challenged the best team in the league, and it still wasn't enough. So I don't see them having too much energy in this Bucks game. I think the Bucks really just blow them out here. They're playing, it's probably another situation where Tom Brady just absolutely goes nuts in the first half and doesn't play the second half. So we're going to call this one Bucks -10. I don't think that this Atlanta team is going to be able to keep up with them. Bucks -10. Alrighty, Broncos, Raiders, 2 teams that aren't playing for anything. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what the over is, but I think I like the over. 2 high explosive offensive teams, nothing left to lose. Drew Lock trying to fight for his position next year to still be in Denver. Derek Carr, I would assume, is still trying to be the quarterback for the Raiders, but I really think that they need to make the switch to Marcus Mariota because I think they found a system that Marcus Mariota can really thrive in here in LA, and I think John Gruden has a tough decision to make in the offseason about Derek Carr. So going to be a tight one. Going to be kind of a wild one to call because you really don't know at the end of the day who's going to kind of show up. Is it going to be the Drew Lock that we've kind of been getting kind of all this season, kind of unfortunately, that's throwing interceptions on the first drive and then only scoring points in the fourth quarter when the game's already over? Are we going to get the Drew Lock from last season who played good in his 5 games? Probably not the good Drew Lock. Probably not the good Drew Lock. But we still can't trust the Raiders either. So another game that I highly stay away from. Raiders, Broncos. I don't know, man. This is tough. Broncos are at home, so I do like them. Raiders on the road, not a lot to play for. I really don't think, the way that I see John Gruden coaching, I don't really think he's going to have the players motivated to actually come out and play this game. Unfortunately, that's just kind of what I get from John Gruden. Sue me, kill me, whatever y'all want to do. But let's go. Oh, this one's tough, folks. This one is tough. But we're going to call this one Broncos. Broncos -1.5. We'll go Broncos -1.5 again. I can't trust Drew Lock, folks. It's unfortunate. I want to like the kid. I like the kid coming into the season. I like the arm, but he's not getting it done. He's not doing anything in the first 3 quarters, which is like the entire game. It's 75% of the entire game. So we'll call this one Broncos -1.5, just because John Gruden getting the Raiders to go from LA to the Denver, high altitude, Denver trying to, carry momentum into next season. I really don't know what John Gruden's doing this season. I don't know what his kind of game plan for next season is. So we'll call this Broncos -1.5. Alrighty, let's crack out these last 4 games here. Titans, Texans. Titans still playing for a playoff spot. Texans playing for something. Deshaun Watson's the only good player on this Texans team. Literally everybody else is not good. Brandon Cooks is the second best player. J.J. Watt's the third best player. And then there's a big old gap between who's the next player is. This Texans offense cannot run the ball to save their lives, even though they've got a great running back in David Johnson. Riddle me that. But, yeah, I mean, you can't even trust the Texans team. I mean, the quarterback's fumbling on the 1-yard line. The wide receivers are fumbling on the 1-yard line. The quarterback is fumbling on the fourth quarter at the end of the game. We cannot trust this Texans offense. Now this Titans team just got absolutely embarrassed last week against the Packers. Expect them to kind of come out and play a little bit better. They're in a dome, so you don't have to worry about the elements. And this Texans team, they probably played a little bit close because division rivals trying to force the Titans out of the playoffs. So with all that being said, still can't trust Deshaun Watson. They're fumbling. They're turning the ball over. No accountability in that Texans locker room. So we're going to call this one Titans -5. Derrick Henry should have no problem running all over it. And then that sets up Ryan Tannehill to have a fantastic day as well. So we're going to call this one Titans -5. Titans still playing for the playoff spot. Texans just playing to play. And when they play to play, they turn it over. So Titans -5. Then we got Jags and Colts. Colts they need to win and need a little bit of help for one of those 4 teams that are already in the playoffs to lose. Now, Phillip Rivers, we just saw the classic Phillip Rivers from last week, but they're facing the Jags, who just made it official that they're tanking by how they played at the end of the half against the Bears last week. So the Colts are going to win this one, no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt that the Jaguars upset the Colts. Jags want to keep that number 1 seed. They're playing Mike Glennon, but it's Phillip Rivers, and anything can happen. They're good in the first half, but they flounder in the second half, and this has been going on for the last 4 or 5 weeks, folks, that this Colts team is not putting up really any points in the second half, and Phillip Rivers turning it over. We really saw 3 interceptions at that fourth quarter mark. 2 were bailed out because they were called back because of a penalty or some ridiculous other flaw that they wanted to give Phillip Rivers another second crack at it. So we're going to call this one Colts -10. We don't truly believe it's Colts -10, but the way that the Jaguars are tanking, we have to call it Colts -10. And we stay away from it. I don't take it because I still don't trust Phillip Rivers. I was vindicated this week, so I'm feeling good about it. But we'll call it Colts -10 because the Jags are tanking. All right, then Rams and Cardinals. Ooh, boy. Winner really gets a playoff spot here. Loser can get knocked out. Not a great look for that. So, Cardinals, Kyler Murray, a little bit of, up in the air whether he was going to play this week. Kind of got injured at the end of the 49ers game last week, but he said he's good to go. He's going to go. He's going to make it work. Whereas on the Rams side, Jared Goff is 100% not playing because he had surgery, and Cooper Kupp is 100% not playing because he's got the COVID. So, this Rams offense was already limited with, other starters. Now you take away their quarterback and their probably number 1 wide receiver. You can make yes, I'm saying that. That's their number 1 wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. So, Rams, I can't trust their offense normally. So you take away the 2 most important positions in an offense, the quarterback and the wide receiver, then I definitely don't like y'all. So don't like the Rams at all. Cardinals playing angry. But the way that the Cardinals played offense last week, it gives me a little, hesitation on picking them. The one knock that we have on the Cardinals is DeAndre Hopkins is the only player that can score points and really move the ball down the field on a consistent basis. They still haven't figured out anything else to do for this Cardinals offense. Now, Kyler Murray, he's usually very good running the ball about, I would say probably averaging about 50 to 65 yards on the ground himself every game, which is pretty good. But we know he's injured, so don't look for him to really be as quick, as precise with his running. He may be a little hesitant as well. Ooh, I want to run. Ooh, hang on, that one tweaked. So now I can't really run, and now he's got he's got Aaron Donald chasing him down. So I really expect Kyler Murray to really struggle a little bit this game. This Rams defense has really been consistent all season. The Cardinals defense is been a little bit up and down. We had them in the top 5 of our defenses for a couple weeks, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. But in the grand scheme of things, this is an 8-8 team, folks. There's nothing really special about them besides DeAndre Hopkins being very good. If the Cardinals team didn't beat the Bills on that Hail Murray play, we're looking at a 7-7 team here, or a 7-8 team here, folks. Like, this Cardinals team, yes, they were good in the first half of the season. Don't get me wrong. That first 7-8 weeks, I was having them, top 4 of our power rankings. But ever since then, this is an average team. They've gotten figured out. The offense isn't anything special. So we have a competent offense in the Cardinals that really can't score a lot of points if they're not going to their number 1 wide receiver, versus a Rams defense that is top 5 in the league. But this Rams offense is not good. Can't trust it. So real trouble deciding this game. We're going to call this one Rams minus 3. And I'll tell you why. I think this backup for the Rams, we'll know if Jared Goff is the problem here for the Rams, if he's limited in what he can do. We will look at the Rams. I'm blanking on the name for the Rams, second string quarterback that's going to be playing this week. But we will look at him on our Saturday show and our Saturday showcase to get a little better understanding on what throws he can make and what he can do. But I think I'm a little excited to see the backup quarterback for the Rams. Not that Jared Goff's bad. It's just he doesn't put up points. It's not like this offense can go and put up 30 points whenever they want. They struggle to put up 24. So maybe that change of quarterback helps them out a little bit. Adding another wide receiver in there that's not Cooper Kupp maybe throws the Cardinals off or defense off a little bit. And I think at the end of the day, the Rams defense holds on, and they hold on. That's what we're going to go with. So we'll call this one Rams minus 3. And then the last game, Seahawks 49ers. 49ers, nothing to play for, but we just saw what they did last week against the Cardinals. C.J. Beathard playing a lot better than Nick Mullins. We can definitely get behind that. The running game for the 49ers really helped out C.J. Beathard as well. Seahawks still in position for that number 1 seed. They can still grab it. Am I bugging? Let me see this real quick. Yeah, they can still grab it. So they're going to be playing 100% division game. Expect the 49ers to step it up a little bit. Richard Sherman versus his old team once again, probably tighter than it probably looks on paper. But we can't trust this 49ers offense, and the Seahawks defense is catching fire at the right time. Or Seahawks defense is catching fire at the right time. So we're going to call this one Seahawks minus 4. Nope, we're going to go 3.5. We'll go 3.5. All right, so now that we've predicted the lines of every single game, let's see how close we are on. How close off are we? And if we see a best bet of the week, folks, we may have to play a little sound effect for that. So, hey, we'll see what we get here. All righty, let's go over to NFL. And let's see what we get here. All right, first game up is Ravens-Bengals, and we predicted this game at... Where's it at? Ravens minus 10, and it's Ravens minus 12.5. So kind of right in the same ballpark, a little bit more than we thought. Now, I do early, we'll come at you live with our official picks tomorrow. We got to kind of digest and sleep on the lines for a day, and we'll come back at you tomorrow with our picks. But right off the rip, I think I like the Bengals plus 12.5. I don't think they win the game like I thought the Bengals won the game last week. I don't think they win against the Ravens, but I think division matchup, and this Bengals team is getting good at the right time. The defense is really stepping it up. You can say, they gave up 34 points against the Texans, but if you kind of looked at that game and watched the game, it was really just some big runs that really set up the Texans to score some points. Now, that could give us a little bit of pause because the Ravens run the ball better than anybody else in the league because that's kind of all they do, run the ball. So the run defense for the Bengals kind of got exposed last week, but it was kind of on some big runs, but that still gives us a little, J.K. Dobbins can rip it off. Lamar Jackson can rip off 50-yarders just like that if he wants to. So Bengals plus 12.5, I think is maybe the safer play a little bit. Division matchup, Bengals can knock the Ravens out of the playoffs if they want to, if they can get the win. So Bengals plus 12.5 is not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. Alrighty, Steelers and Browns. Let's see what we get here. We predicted the game at Browns minus 2.5, and we're 100% wrong. Browns minus 9. And I understand it because they're not having Ben Roethlisberger, but is Mason Rudolph that bad? I don't think he's good. And then the Browns, that whole COVID situation, we're not sure, who's going to be good to go. We know the wide receivers are good to go, but Baker Mayfield, Steelers can still knock out the Browns. So Steelers plus 9, I think I'm liking it a little bit here, folks. Ooh, Steelers plus 9. I think I like it a little bit. Alrighty, Cowboys Giants. We predicted this game at Giants minus 1.5, and it's Giants plus 1.5. All right, so Vegas is favoring the Cowboys a little bit here. Do I understand it? Yeah, a little bit, because the Cowboys offense was good last week, and we still haven't seen that Daniel Jones offense get back to where he was before kind of the little tweak in his injury. So Giants, I think they win the game. I think this Giants defense is very, very underrated, and I think this Cowboys offense only had one good game. Are we going to put a lot of stock in that Cowboys one good offensive game? Not too much, because I think the Eagles' offense or defense was a little worse than I thought, and I think they kind of tricked me a little bit for being good a couple weeks. But I like this Giants defense better than I like the Eagles' offense currently. I think Daniel Jones can get it done at home. Cowboys on the road. I think we take the 1.5 here. I'm liking the Giants this week, folks. I am liking the Giants this week. Alrighty, Dolphins and Bills, and we predicted this game at Bills minus 3.5, and it's going to be Bills minus 1.5. So Dolphins, this must-win attitude by them. Vegas is liking. They're liking the Dolphins defense, and I think with this line is telling us that maybe the Bills aren't going to play 100%. Sean McDermott says he has the game plan for Miami, but he's not telling anybody about it because he doesn't want anybody to know. So maybe Vegas knows. I'm sure there's insiders. That's why the lines kind of, inflict on what's going to come out in the next couple of days of who's in and who's out. So Bills minus 1.5, Dolphins plus 1.5, must win for the Dolphins. Bills just trying to wrap up the number 2 seed. If they get down big early, are they going to play in the second half? If they get up big early in the first half, will the starters still be playing in the second half if the starters are starting anyway? So probably wait maybe till Sunday to bet this game, to take this game till we get all the information. But Dolphins with the 0.5 point or 1.5, I think that's not too bad for a must-win scenario here for the Dolphins. Alrighty, Falcons and Bucks, and we predicted this game at Bucks minus 10, and it's Bucks minus 6.5, and I actually like this a lot, folks. I don't want to say best bet of the week just quite yet, but I'm liking this. Bucks are treating this like it's an absolute must-win game for them. Falcons, I think they're looking a little bit early for vacation. They have an interim head coach, so look for no real accountability maybe this last week, kind of like what we're seeing with the Texans, a lot of turnovers late in games, no accountability there in the coaching, in the coaching circle. So we get the Bucks minus 6.5. We just saw what they did to the Lions last week. Yes, and I understand that the Lions coaches, that's basically why they lost, because they had wild coaches coaching in positions that they would never coach in, otherwise. So I still like the Bucks minus 6.5, right under that 7 hook. Perfect. Tom Brady was using all of his weapons last week. This is kind of their last kind of run through before everything starts to matter. This Bucks team really needs to get into, oh my goodness, it's do or die mode. This is the week to do it. I like the way that Bruce Arians is handling this week that I've heard of so far, starting everybody. This is a must-win week. This is a no-nonsense week. We're treating it like every other week. I can get behind that. So Bucks minus 6.5. I'm telling y'all early, I like it a lot, folks. Only have to swallow 6.5. I'll take that. Alrighty, Jets and Patriots. We predicted this line at... Where did we predict this line? Here we go. We said it's a pick'em. We said it would be a pick'em, and it's Patriots minus 3. So Vegas is basically saying it is a pick'em if it was on neutral field, but the home team always gets minus 3, so that's why Patriots are minus 3 here. So we're kind of on the right thinking a little bit. Really don't know what to do with these two teams. I don't know who's going to be starting quarterback for the Patriots. The Patriots defense hasn't been as good as, it has been, at certain points this season. The Jets, are they going to be playing? I mean, they won their last 2 games, so you would expect them to really be playing a lot. I think Adam Gase is getting a little sick of everybody calling him out a little bit. So I think I like the Jets plus the 3. Give me the 3 points, and I'll ride with the decision. But 2 bad teams, meaningless game. Definitely stay away from it. Highly advise staying away from it. Alrighty, Vikings-Lions. We predicted this game at Vikings -3, and it's going to be Vikings -6.5. Once again, I kind of understand the line a little bit. This Vikings team, they're not going to have Dalvin Cook, but they'll have Kirk Cousins, unfortunately. If they had to get one or the other, I'd take Dalvin Cook over Kirk Cousins, but unfortunate there. Lions, the coaching whole situation, I would expect the coaches to be back this season, but once again, kind of an interim head coach situation with Detroit where you're really not sure how the players are going to respond to that. Matt Stafford, I would assume, is not playing this week. I would assume Matt Stafford's not playing this week. So we saw how that offense worked last week without him. But once again, the coach's situation. On the Vikings side, Mike Zimmer, I think he may be out of Minnesota. You know, that comment against the defense being the worst defense he's ever had. No Dalvin Cook. The offense is going to struggle. I'm telling you, Kirk Cousins will struggle in this game, even against probably a lackluster Detroit Lions team. So big spread here. Once again, 2 bad teams, nothing to play for. Future of the coaches and the players on that team are up in the air. So once again, I highly stay away from taking this game. Alrighty, then we get Bears and Packers. We predicted this line at Packers -5, and it's Packers -5.5. So finally, we're on one. Only half a point off here, and we still like it. I'm not trusting Mitch Trubisky. If you give me, who do you rather trust? Mitch Trubisky trying to get that last wild card spot, or Aaron Rodgers trying to secure a first-round bye? I'm taking Aaron Rodgers securing a first-round bye all day and tomorrow and next year and 5 years down the road. And if Mitch Trubisky is still on the roster next year, I still take it next year as well. So all that being said, Packers -5.5. I can't trust Mitch Trubisky. He's still throwing red zone turnovers. I'm not buying that at all. I'm not buying that Mitch Trubisky is going to be on this Bears roster and that the Bears are going to be re-signing him next season. I'm not buying any of that. What I am buying, Aaron Rodgers on his last leg of his career. He's looking damn good this season. He wants that first round bye. He wants the entire NFC playoff to go through Green Bay. That's what stopped him from getting to the Super Bowl last season. They had to make a quick pit stop into Santa Clara, where the 49ers play, or wherever the heck they play, Santa Clarita, wherever, if that's even real. But anyway, we like the Packers -5.5, and I think this is kind of the best bet of the week so far that we've seen. I will swallow the 5.5. I would swallow probably 9.5 for that 10-point hook. Alrighty, Texans, Titans. We predicted this game at Titans -5, and it's Titans -7.5. I understand it, folks. This Texans team, they are turning the ball over wildly. Like, you can't trust the offense one sliver of how much they're turning the ball over. They're turning the ball over so much that they're getting bailed out by recovering their own turnovers and still having lost turnovers on the spreadsheet on the stat line. So they're turning it over multiple times, even more than you're seeing, and that you think they're turning it over more than that. So this Titans team just got embarrassed on TV. Expect them to step up a little bit. They're in a dome, so they don't have to worry about the elements. So expect Derrick Henry to get going even quicker, or even better, or even at all than compared to last week. Titans once again trying to secure a playoff spot here. Now, the only red flag I'm going to put up in this game is that these are division rivals, and the Texans would love nothing more than sending a division rival home for the playoffs. So maybe stay away from the 7.5. It is a little high, even though I think the Titans should just kind of absolutely destroy Mike Vrabel. If there's any head coach that I trusted 100%, it would probably be Brian Flores and Mike Vrabel. I think I may even trust Mike Vrabel a little bit more than Brian Flores, because I've seen a little questionable calls in game situations with Brian Flores this season. So maybe I trust Brian Flores 99%, but I think I trust Mike Vrabel 100%, which is kind of crazy. So Titans, I do like them to win. 7.5 should be good. 7.5, that half point could probably kill you. So yeah. Well, let's move on. Here we go. Jaguars and Colts. We predicted this line at Colts -10, Colts -14. The Jags are tanking, but Phillip Rivers, I don't even trust Phillip Rivers with kind of getting 14 points. even with the Jags tanking. That's how much I don't trust Phillip Rivers. I wouldn't swallow 14 points against a tanking Jaguars team. But yeah, the Colts are going to win. I mean, kind of hands down, they'll win. The running game will win. I'm sure. Frank Reich is trying to take the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hands as much as he can this week, probably treating him like a Mitch Trubisky, because I can guarantee you that Mitch Trubisky will not throw more than 21 passes against this Packers team. Matt Nagy will keep the ball out of his hands, and I think Frank Reich keeps the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hands here as well. So I'm going to stay away from it. I'm not swallowing 14 points with the Colts. I would never do that. I would never do that. All right, let's keep going here. Saints-Panthers. We predicted this line at Saints -1.5, and it's Saints -6.5. Once again, no, that was Giants. What did we predict this one at? We said Saints -4. That's what we said. We said Saints -4 and Saints -6.5. I knew that didn't sound right to me. I was like, I don't think I would have ever said that. Saints -1. So here you are. Saints -4 is what we predicted. It's Saints -6.5. Drew Brees, they can still wrap up the number 1 seed, as we said, so they're going to be fighting for that. No Mike Williams for the Panthers, and he's really kind of he's not a great runner, but he's averaging at, like I said, about 50 to 65 yards a game, and that definitely helps the offense a little bit. Not as impactful as like a Delvin Cook or a Derrick Henry, but Teddy Bridgewater doesn't need all that help. So the Panthers offense should still be pretty decent. Winning culture, that's the most important thing Matt Rule is focusing on. They've already really done it this season. Closing out with the win would be huge for them. Saints, closing out with the win absolutely would be huge for them as well. They could still get that number 1 seed. So the 6.5 here, it's looking a little good for the Saints to get under that 7-point hook. But I think if this ever gets above like 7.5, I think then we switch over to the Panthers, because I do think that they can still keep this game close. Especially the way that Drew Brees played last week. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that man was slinging the ball. 2 interceptions, I think another one that was dropped. So not buying too much into Drew Brees. I really think if Taysom Hill plays this game, then I'll take whatever the Saints are minus. But if Drew Brees is playing, and if this line ever gets above 7.5, I'll take the Panthers plus that. Alrighty, Cardinals-Rams. We predicted this line at Rams -3, and it's Rams. Whoa! Rams plus 3.5. Folks, don't let me do this. Best bet of the week, folks. I'm telling y'all. This is the best bet of the week, folks. Rams plus 3.5 over that 3 hook. I get Jared Goff's not playing, and I get Cooper Kupp's not playing. But this Rams offense isn't that great either, and I am kind of excited to see kind of a little bit of a shakeup at quarterback now that we can finally decide, is it Jared Goff that's holding back this offense, or is it Sean McVay with the play calling? We'll know this week, and I can't trust Kyler Murray. He's not going to be 100%, so he's going to be uncomfortable in the pocket, and you've got Aaron Donald just barreling down on you. That's not a good look for the Cardinals. Now, we know the Cardinals struggle because they only can score with DeAndre Hopkins. Who do you think is going to be on DeAndre Hopkins? Jalen Ramsey for the Rams. So I think he neutralizes the only scoring threat of the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's a little banged up, and I'll trust this Rams defense over the Cardinals offense. I think this is tremendous value. Rams at home, A+. Trying to fight for that playoffs. Once again, A+. I get the Cardinals are fighting for the playoffs too. I get that. But Kyler Murray not looking good last week. He's banged up this week. This Rams defense is better than the 49ers defense was. And I get 3.5. I'll take that. I think this is going to be a kind of a low-scoring game. The Rams are just going to try and control the ball and control the clock and run the ball over and over and over and over again. And I get 3.5 with that. Over the 3 hook, give me that all day. Best bet of the week, folks. Rams plus 3. Give it to me. Give it to me, baby. Love it. Rams plus. Oh, I love it. I did not think it was going to be like that. We said Rams -3. I'm not trusting Kyler Murray this week. That's what it's coming down to. Rams plus 3.5. This Cardinals team is an average team, folks. It's an average team. They're an 8-8 team. That's what they are. Rams plus 3. God, I love that. Woof. There it is. We just won this week, folks. There it is. All right, let's finish off these last 4 games. Here we go. Seahawks and 49ers. We predicted this game at Seahawks minus 3.5. Seahawks minus 6.5. A little bit larger than we thought. But the Seahawks defense should take care of the 49ers offense. The only reason that the 49ers had great success offensively last week was because they got great contribution from the run game. That really just helped out C.J. Beathard. Do I think C.J. Beathard overall is better than Nick Mullins? Yeah, it's because Nick Mullins is turning the ball over. So C.J. Beathard didn't do that last week, which is kind of impressive to me. But once again, kind of helped out by the running game. I think it's safe to swallow the 6.5 with Seattle. The defense, it's getting right on par. And we saw the Seahawks offense start to get a little bit back on track. Not too much, but a little bit back on track the second half against the Rams last week. So with all that being said, I've got no problem swallowing the 6.5 for the Seahawks. Chargers, Chiefs. We predicted this game at Chiefs minus 1, and it's going to be Chiefs plus 3.5. Okay, so we kind of get a bit of more clear understanding of actually who's going to be playing for the Chiefs. We know Patrick Mahomes is not going to play, but now with this spread being the way it is, that the Chiefs are actually getting points, I would say probably another reliable piece, either offensively or defensively, at least one, is probably not going to play either. And I still think I like the Chiefs plus the points here, folks. And I can't. The Chargers, yes, they've won like 3 straight, but it's still kind of a coin flip game. I mean, this Chargers team literally could have been, what do we got? Like probably 12-4 or like 4-12. Like kind of, well, they got 6 wins now, but this is how close these Chargers games have been. Even in the games that they win and even in the games they lose, they could be 12-4 just like that, or they could be 4-12 just like that. So I still can't trust the Chargers against a good team, against a bad team, against backups, against starters. Still can't trust them. So I still think I like Chiefs plus 3 here, but let's get a clearer picture of actually who's all in for the Chiefs. Even without, like, if it was just Patrick Mahomes, give me the Chiefs plus 3.5 all day. I'll trust Chad Henne. I know Patrick Mahomes is like the life and the spirit of the Chiefs offense, but they still got weapons, folks. Okay, so I think Chad Henne could definitely just be a solid game manager. All right, last 2 games. Here we go. Raiders, Broncos. We predicted this game at Broncos minus 1.5, and it's Broncos plus 3. And that, folks, that, I love it. Let's do it again. Best bet of the week, folks. Truly best bet, or second best bet of the week if you want. But I'm not going to trust the Raiders on the road, especially if Derek Carr plays. I think it's bad. John Gruden, I'm not sure how he's going to kind of get his team ready to go from LA to Denver last week of the season when nothing matters, when they literally just blew the worst lead that they've ever had blown. This is worse than, this Cowboys-Atlanta game that happened in week 3. That was worse than this, folks. So Broncos plus the 3. Drew Lock knows he has a lot to prove this week if he wants to be on this Broncos roster come next season. If he still wants to be the guy in Denver, he needs to have a good game here. And I'll take the home team on the elements, in the elements, at home. I'll take the 3. And then the last game, Washington and Eagles, and we predicted this game at Washington minus 3, and it's going to be Washington minus 2.5, so exactly right on par there. And we still like the Washington minus 2.5. I would like them all the way up to probably minus 4.5 under that 5 hook. I like Washington straight up here. I think they win. I think they win the division, not because of the offense, even though I think Tim Heineke should be starting instead of Alex Smith, but because of this Washington defense against Jalen Hurts. He hasn't looked good in the fourth quarter. He's not putting up any points in the fourth quarter, which is never a good sign. This Washington team holds teams to not a lot of points in the second half. They may give up 20 points in the first half. They have done that before, but then they come right back and hold you to like 3 or no points in the second half. So love this Washington defense. They just need a little bit good quarterback. Alex Smith has been out for a couple weeks. Tim Heineke stepped up last week for Washington. Unfortunately, a little bit too late, but that's not his fault because Dwayne Haskins was not doing anything all game and turning the ball over. So Washington minus 2.5, like that as well. Alrighty, that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with our official picks on Week 17, and we have our playoff machine as well. So join us for that on twitch.tv/takesbyfans live at noon Eastern. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks.